Would you like to accelerate your career and reach your full potential in just minutes a day? Welcome to the LEADx Show with New York Times best-selling author and Inc. 500 entrepreneur, Kevin Cruz.
Hey everyone, Kevin Cruz here. Welcome to the LEADx Leadership Show, where we help you to become the boss everyone wants to work for. Today on the show, you're going to hear from the CEO of a new startup, which is based on Adam Grant's book, Give and Take. We talk about the law of reciprocity and the challenges of getting people to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. But first, here's an email I got from Jason. He writes, I was a micromanaging boss that cared about the results more than the people achieving them. Because of the lessons taught by you and the curriculum in the LEADx Academy, I've been able to completely rewrite my approach to leadership and associate development and engagement. My Gallup Q12 scores went from 67 to 90 in 6 months. Thank you, Jason, for that awesome note, that awesome feedback. Glad you're getting value out of that LEADx Academy. And for everyone listening, you can try out the LEADx Academy absolutely free. That's where you're going to go to develop your skills in areas of management, leadership, and becoming extremely productive. Try it out for free at leadx.org. Our quote of the day, being a giver is not good for a 100-yard dash, but it's valuable in a marathon. Adam Grant. Our guest today is the author of Managing Forward and the bestseller Innovating Analytics. He's been quoted in CNN, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post. Today, he's president and CEO of Give and Take, a startup company that builds software that helps you build a culture of generosity, which leads to better employee engagement and better productivity, all in less than 5 minutes a day. This company was co-founded by Adam Grant, the Wharton professor who wrote a book of the same name. Our guest is Larry Freed. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
So, Larry, I always start off by asking kind of a standard first question of our guests. And, you know, I've got a lot of younger, less experienced managers in my audience. So the question is this: what leadership advice would you personally give to a first-time manager, but someone who really wants to be viewed as a high potential?
That is a great question. And I think leadership advice is a tough thing to give. It's a lot of learning and listening. I've always felt that I learned the most from some of the bad managers I've had. You know, we learn more by mistakes sometimes than we do by successes. When you have a great manager, you often don't realize how good they are because it doesn't feel like it's hard. So you don't really pay attention. But I guess my biggest question would be read a lot. There's a lot of great sources out there. But most importantly, listen a lot. Listen to your employees, listen to your managers, and listen to everybody around you and how they interact. And be critical of what you hear and assessing what's good and what's bad, and also be really self-critical. I think being self-critical and re-examining what you've done in a meeting, what you've done in a tough situation, and saying, wow, could I have done that better, is really a great trait in how you always drive yourself to continuously improve and be better the next time.
I think that's great advice, and specifically listening, you know, in the full 360. I was just having a breakfast meeting about a week ago with a high-level technical leader, and he said the one time he really failed in a role earlier on, he knew to listen to his boss, he knew to listen to his team members, but he really wasn't listening to his peers. And he said that ended up being his downfall in that role. So, Larry, before we started, I went through your bio and you know, mentioned your book, Managing Forward. But of course, right now, you are CEO and president of the company Give and Take. Now, co-founders I know include Wayne Baker, Adam Grant, and so I'm assuming Adam Grant's book, same title as the company. What's the connection there? Where did the company come from?
Right. It's not a coincidence that the company's name is Give and Take. So this really came out of a lot of Wayne and Adam's work over the years. So Wayne's a professor at Michigan. Adam got his PhD at Michigan and then went on to be a professor at Wharton. And they both done a lot of great things in their careers. And, you know, Adam's really well known and written 3 great best-selling books, and one of the really great business thought leaders out there from my perspective. And it really all started about a concept about creating better relationships through a concept called generalized reciprocity, and the idea that nice guys don't always finish last, but in fact, nice guys can finish first, or nice people can finish first. So helping others is a positive trait. And when you really step back and think about it, what excited me about it was that people that are willing to ask for help is a really great attribute because it means that you're willing to put yourself behind the importance of the project you're working on or the customer you're trying to serve or the company you're working for, right? Because you're willing to expose maybe your weakness that you don't know all the right answers. But so it's a great sign of strength. And all too often, there's this feeling that asking for help is a sign of weakness. So we all kind of grew up in corporate America with this thought, don't go to your boss with a problem, go with a solution. That's upside down, right? That's who we should be asking for help. And so this concept of generalized reciprocity was really built out of this exercise called a reciprocity ring, where you would get a group of people together and you would explain to them the value of asking for help, the importance of being a giver. There's just you could go on for hours about the power of asking for help. You never know what you're going to get until you actually ask for help. And then they do an exercise to really create the importance of that, to help people understand it and to create better relationships along the way. So it really accomplishes a couple of things. It accomplishes exchanging information, getting smarter, harnessing the collective intelligence of the crowd, if you will, along with building better relationships, because you start to build greater trust. So long story short, try to make it short at least, is that, they had been doing this exercise for a long time. And there was really a demand from companies to say, how can we take the concepts that are in Adam's book, Give and Take, are reinforced by generalized reciprocity, and how can you make them part of our daily life in our company? So we really developed a platform that would do that would create a safe environment, that would reduce the stigma of asking for help, and would make it easy to be a giver on 5 minutes a day. Because those of us that are givers, it gets tiring sometimes, right? And so we want to make it really easy and efficient for people to help others. But most importantly, we also want to make it easy and safe for people to ask for help.
So I want to ask more about the platform in a minute, but I'm curious. So how did you get connected with Wayne and Adam? And hearing what you just said, I have a feeling Michigan is going to be involved again somewhere.
Yeah, it always is, right? At least when you're from this area. So my prior business, 4C Results, that I co-founded with a University of Michigan Business School professor back in 2001. We had a great success. We sold the company in 2013. And so I was fairly well connected with the Ann Arbor community, the University of Michigan community. Someone introduced Wayne to me, and we started talking. And I had been sort of out of the software world for a couple of years, doing the things you do after you sell a company, investing and sitting on boards and things like that. And it was to the point where I was ready to jump back in. But I wanted it to be for the right thing. So I said to myself, if I found the right thing, I'll do it, but I'm not going to go looking for it, right? Because when you look for it, you take the first decent thing that comes along. And I met with Wayne and I was really blown. And then the second step I took then was I reached out to some of my former colleagues and said, hey guys, would you be interested in doing something like this? And we all felt really good about it. It was a lot of how we tried to build our company in the past and a lot of the same character attributes that we had. And we felt it was a really good fit. And then in a really, really, really small world, I got connected, Adam and Wayne and I got on the phone together. And it turns out that Adam used to babysit my nephews.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm telling my sister I'm going back to work, and she's like, that was our babysitter. I'm like, no, it can't be the same guy, and sure enough, it was. So that all sort of completed the picture and said, boy, this just feels really right, and decided to jump in and do it.
Yeah, that's incredible. And the platform itself, it's called Givitas. Is that right?
Yes, Givitas. So it's the combination of the word giving and civitas. The idea we're going to create a giving community,
That's
giving
great.
culture.
And so this would be a SaaS platform that a company would subscribe to, and then their employees have a way of asking for and giving help. Is that the idea?
Yeah, it is. And, and the first reaction that people have is, well, I can do that in email, or I can do that in one of the many collaboration tools that we have implemented at our company, Slack, Yammer, or so on. And there's some truth to that. You can do it there, but it just doesn't work very well. So we think of this as a very purpose-built platform, really focused on seeking and giving help. And by it being purpose-built, we accomplish a couple of things right out of the gate. One is we make it very clear that this is a place to go to ask for help. When you don't know who to ask, if it's the guy sitting 2 doors down from you, 3 cubes over, whatever the case may be, and he's got the answer, you're going to go ask him. And that's a good thing. We're not trying to stop that or replace that. But when you don't know who to ask, let's make it an easy and safe place to do it. So let's promote, reinforce, really champion the idea that, hey guys, when you don't know the right answer, reach out and ask. It sort of takes a lot of the principles in servant leadership as well, when you think about it, where, traditional leadership is I'm at the top of the pyramid and everyone there is to support me. servant leadership, we're trying to flip that pyramid of power upside down. And we want everyone to be there to support each other. And so it really supports a lot of those similar concepts. But by being purpose-built, it really creates a place that we can do things that you can't do in a traditional platform. One, make it easy and efficient to ask for help. We know whether a request for help has been resolved or not. So I can come in and say, I'm going to really focus my efforts on helping those people that need help, not that already have the answers. We capture an organizational memory of the most asked questions and the best answers. We can have very smart notifications. So we use the phrase, if you don't come to Givitas will come to you. We don't want you to spend your whole day in our platform. We want you to spend 5 minutes or less a day. So a very different approach than when you think about the other collaboration platforms that are sort of fighting for your time of day. And they all serve great value. So I'm not being critical of them, but their sort of internal success metric usually is how much time you spend in their platform. Ours is the opposite. We want you to spend very little time, but add lots of value. We want requests that are made, get answers and help quickly. That to us is the real measure of success.
Now, I haven't had a chance to play with the platform myself yet, but I'm curious. Like, I would think that among the challenges of getting people to adopt it, it's not necessarily the technology, it's the psychology of employees. And I would think that of the two sides, people might want to answer questions to, look smart or get visibility, or maybe you've got some gamification points or something in the system, but it might be harder to get people, again, to be vulnerable and post questions. Are you seeing that, and how do you overcome that?
That's a great point. Yeah, asking for help is the hardest thing to do. When I first thought of this, I thought, boy, getting people to give help is going to be difficult, but that's actually relatively easy in comparison. Having it being a purpose-built platform helps a great deal because you're never the first person to raise your hand and ask for help, and you can see who else has asked for help. So, when we implement, we always start with what we call an early adopter group, a small group. We want them to be sort of thought leaders within the organization. And hey, guys, ask for help. Ask for something you really need help with. And they always do have those issues. Even the top leaders in organizations need information from their people. And once that ball gets rolling, it starts to build momentum. And we do a lot to celebrate the success. We have a lot of analytics that we can build into the system because we know this is a request for help. We know this is an answer to it. And so we can do a lot of stuff to really continually promote the value and the opportunity for people. But it is about creating a psychologically safe place for help. And, we have this, every company struggles with employee engagement. And we've tried all these really cool things, great work environments, great coffee bars, bring your dog to work day, recess, every Friday, whatever it is. And they're fun and they're nice. But at the end of the day, they don't really create engagement. Engagement is created by building stronger relationships and getting a sense of you're in a trusted environment and there are people there to help you be successful. And so it's sort of, in some worlds, it's very competitive in companies where it's I got to kick the guy next to me down and step over him to get ahead. That's not the way most organizations want it to work, and it's not the most productive way. We feel that we actually help create not only better knowledge sharing and better information, which helps business results and business decisions get made every day, but also helps a great deal with improving relationships and improving that employee engagement and social capital within your organization.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I know you're a relatively new company, but Larry, what are you most excited about these days? What's the coming months and year going to bring?
Yeah, so we are a relatively new company. We've gotten off to a great start. We've got a handful of customers up and running on this. Target is large enterprises, mid-sized to large enterprises, but we've also done some stuff with some community groups and some events and things like that where you can create some really powerful creativity and collaboration in industry groups and different associations. We're really excited about the power that it can bring to companies. And so far, we've had great receptivity and we've had great results with the implementations we've had. People are using it. They're getting value out of it. And we see it just continuing to grow. We just implemented a ring recently. We call it a ring. We implemented one recently where there's about 800, 900 people in it right now. And every request that's being made, and on average about 4 or 5 a day, they're getting an average of 4 or 5 offers of help within a couple of days, which is just incredible. And you start to see people really interacting and really wanting to be, both a giver and a requester. And that's really exciting to see.
That's great. So Larry, how can our listeners find out more about Give and Take?
So you can check out our website at giveandtakeinc.com. And there's a lot of information on there and there's blogs and we're we're trying really not only to create a software product, but also to really start to create a place where people can interact and get a lot of great information. So there's a lot of information on the site as well.
That sounds great. And for all the listeners out there, you always know that I like to challenge you to get a little bit better every single day. And so the challenge from this conversation is go to that website, giveandtakeinc.com. And among the resources, you have some free quizzes that you can take for some self-discovery. There's one that I took that I liked called What Kind of Giver Are You? So I hope everyone goes and takes that. I think I'm a coach giver. So I want everybody to take that quiz and email me at info@leadx.org. Let me know what your result is. Larry, thanks again for coming on to the LEADx show.
Thanks, Kevin. It was great to be here.
Friends, if you like this episode of the LEADx Leadership Podcast, please take just a minute and leave a rating on iTunes or Stitcher. It's the #1 way we will attract new leaders. And you know, I'm on a mission over the next 10 years to spark 100 million new leaders. And if you're looking to teach your managers how to become great leaders, how to increase their employee engagement scores, and how they can achieve extreme productivity, check out the LEADx Academy at leadx.org, or just send me an email if you have 10 or more managers, and we'll talk about doing a free pilot in your company. info@leadx.org is the email address, and I'll personally respond. Remember, leadership is influence. You are always leading. How will you lead today?